injuries are a part of it. Again, I get it. It sucks.
Yeah.
If you bought a ticket to see somebody and they're hurt, I get it. That is like a big bummer. But no, you would never say that about men's sports. If LeBron was out or Steph Curry or the big names were out for a couple weeks, they would never be like, oh, we're going to reimburse you guys. Sorry about that. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We have a great show today, but we also had a great weekend. We want to talk about our weekend. We've got more Rapinoes in the house.
Weekend.
More Rapinoes visited us.
Yep.
Megan's sister Rach is here, but we went to the theater.
We went to the theater.
How do you say it?
The movie theater.
It's a theater.
The theater. It's not theater.
So this might be, should we make this the Are You a Megan? Did we just get to the Are You a Megan or Are You Sue portion of the show without knowing it?
We have two for you then today.
We went to the theater and we saw Oh Mary, which Megan is obsessed with. It was amazing. Cannot recommend it enough.
I fucking said I fucking can't. Best part of the whole show.
That's a glimpse.
Best part of the whole show.
Yeah, Oh Mary was phenomenal. We also saw Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen was great.
Crying. We were crying. We actually cried quite a bit, the two of us.
I had like actual bunch of tears streaming down my face. We didn't cry as much as the guy sitting down and left us.
Yeah, well, he was in the play. He thought he was in the play.
Yeah, he was like an audience member, but in it. He was
feeling
good.
all of it. Yeah.
And I didn't know this, but the main character, Alicia Keys, I think that was like her first. She was like a stand-in or something.
Oh, the one
it
we
was
saw.
like an understudy.
Yeah. Understudy, yeah.
Yeah. She did great.
She did great. I think my favorite part about Hell's Kitchen, for those that don't know, it's loosely based on Alicia Keys' life. She composed the music, and some of her actual songs are also in there. But what I liked about it, when they used This Girl's on Fire and No One and things like that, they didn't use it, I feel like, from my experience, the songs weren't always used in the relationship that I feel like I envisioned or I pictured when listening when the songs came out. You kind of thought like boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was mother-daughter. Sometimes it was parents. So I really enjoyed that
That's what got me. The mother-daughter ones where it was like you're picturing it as like a love song, and then the mom is singing it to the daughter. And
did you cry in Frozen too? Because that happens in Frozen a little bit.
Well, I didn't really see Frozen.
Ooh.
But yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The mom was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The whole play was
her
great.
voice is
So
crazy.
those two, highly recommend it. So like I said, we've got a bunch of Rapinos in the house. We had your mom and aunt. You guys rode the subway for the first time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to literally punch all of you in the face. Shout out Mammers. I know you listen. Because they just kept announcing how it was their first time riding the subway. And I was like, you're like literally a bad PSA right now on what not to do.
Yeah. I couldn't really even reel them in. Obviously, I was getting the daggers from you. I couldn't even reel them in because, like, I was participating in the same egregious behavior,
taking pictures. The actual opposite definition of like act like you've been here before.
Yeah, no, we were not playing it cool.
It was so funny. Mammers, I would never punch you in the face.
No,
you either to say.
No,
obviously. Yeah, but it was overall, I think, a great weekend, and we still have your sister visiting, and Knicks and 6. So Knicks and 6.
Let's go, bing bong. If there's a bandwagon to hop on, I am like driving the thing always. I was so thrilled. We went to one of the games last series, and
where I got this hat.
Where I got this hat, obviously.
That was probably the biggest win of the night for you. You were like, oh yeah, the next one, the series is over, but I got this hat.
Huge. It was huge, and it's orange, and it's just I'm imagining and dreaming about this, getting faded out and this becoming my favorite Knicks hat. And I'm the kind of person that has like one Knicks hat for like 30 years. Yeah. So
no, you have become a Knicks fan, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is Knicks and 6, even though they're down 2-1 right now. But we do want to give a shout to Jenny Busek. We were able to see her. She is obviously a former coach of mine with the Seattle Storm, an assistant for the Pacers. And it was great to see her and catch up. And I have to admit, every time the Pacers run the play that Jenny and I kind of created, more so Jenny, but that we created, it gives me warm fuzzies. For those that don't know, the Pacers do like a late game from the sideline out of bounds play where they basically start majority of the players in the backcourt and have them run into the front court, which is where they're shooting the ball.
Yeah.
Which is totally different than anything you've ever seen. And they've had a lot of success with it. And that's something that Jenny and I essentially made up like years ago. We were like, why do people start in the front court and then run towards the half court
like
line?
running like football routes into the front court.
Towards the basket. So I love, they ran it the other day.
I feel like teams always get open and get a decent shot. Or
You're
at least
starting to see it more. I saw it in the NCAA tournament a
ball.
little bit. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, shout out to Jenny, even though it's Knicks and 6.
Fair. We got a lot to get into today. There's been a lot of sportsing happening over the weekend. Arsenal women won the Champions League for the first time since 2007. This one is special. I am not an Arsenal fan, nor have I ever played for Arsenal, nor do I have any ties to Arsenal. But there's 2 Americans, and obviously Kim Little, who I played with in Seattle for so long and who I consider on the Mount Rushmore. So excited for her. This is like her childhood club. That was really cool. And the game was amazing. We're going to get into it a little bit.
The Scottish Queen.
Scottish Queen. Yeah, Katie McCabe really had herself a time, and I can't wait to talk about it. The WNBA is WNBAing, and wild storylines, funny storylines, officiating complaints, as always, rivalries. Caitlin hurt her quad. Don't worry, I'm going to diagnose it. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to talk about that impact. And, well, we have, I guess, 2. Are you a Megan or are you a Suze? Is it theater or theater? And then we'll get to the other one.
I go to the movie theater.
Yeah, well, I go to the movie theater. So,
Theater.
Yeah. We're going to give you the hotline later. Before we get started, though, we do want to ask a small favor of our listeners. We need your guys' feedback. We are always kind of like planning the future of a touch more. And we want to hear from you to figure out how we can make our show the best show possible and give you what you want. So visit voxmedia.com/survey to give us your feedback. Tell us what you like. I mean, you probably don't not like anything, but tell us more of what you like so we can have the best show for you. You ready? Let's do it. I'm Megan Rapinoe.
And I'm Sue Bird. This is A Touch More. Let's get into it.
Support for A Touch More comes from Ring. If you're an avid listener of the pod, you don't need us to tell you how important good defense is. With Ring doorbells and cameras, you can get security and peace of mind at home or on the go. And A Touch More fans will be glad to hear that Ring is a strong supporter of women's sports. They're expanding partnerships across leagues, including the WNBA and the National Women's Soccer League. With Ring, you can get security and peace of mind from anywhere. Learn more at ring.com. Support for A Touch More comes from Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus is your streaming home for the best soccer in the world. Watch U.S. Women's National Team stars like Lynn Biondolo, Sam Coffey, and the Thompson sisters dazzle for their club teams. Catch live matches, highlights, and full match replays all season long. Don't miss out on the most exciting moments as they unfold. From kickoff to the final whistle, including the 2025 NWSL Championship streaming on Paramount Plus. Get started today by visiting ParamountPlus.com/livesports.
First up, the check-in, topic 1 today, a little bit of a WNBA roundup. I'm going to start with Jewel. Lloyd. She plays for the Aces now, as we've all...
You know where you love her.
As we have all discussed. She returned to Seattle. I actually just had Jewel on Bird's Eye View, so check that out. You can learn more about her origin story, our relationship and friendship, the names of our team group chats, which was my favorite part. How dyslexia has impacted Jewel in her career, but of course the impact she's had on the Storm franchise. And that, you could see it in the game the other night. They did a tribute video, a lot of emotion there. She got a standing ovation. She also got out to a hot start, even though the Aces did take that L. That was a big L.
That feels like a win for everyone.
A beefy L.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she did get out to a hot start, hitting 4 of her first 5. But it was our girl, Nneka. Nneka finished with 23 points. Honestly, a lot of Storm players played well. So Gabby Williams on defense, obviously, making Jewel's life kind of difficult. But yeah, it was a great win for the Storm.
I just feel like Nneka, that's just what she does. She's just like the epitome of a true professional. She's just always quietly balling. She's had like such a great couple of years in Seattle. It's been really cool. Like she just is like gone there, done her thing. She's always so much fun to watch. You always know what you're going to get. I love it.
Yeah, I thought
Love
she was
some
great.
Nneka.
And Nneka keeps it real. She got she got blasted a little bit by Paige Beckers when they played Dallas a week or so ago.
Yeah, Paige's been in the weight room.
Yeah, she took it to the interwebs, and she was like, "You're never too young or too old to be welcomed to the W." Honestly, I watched the clip again. She does get hit, but she also was like, selling the foul a little bit.
Yeah.
Paige ain't knocking her down like that.
Nneka's no rookie. She knows what she's doing.
And for the Storm, they started out the season with a loss, and a lot of people were doubting them. And now they're at 3-1, and they just beat the Aces. So I like the progress.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm always cheering.
Oh, yeah. It's a home team.
All right, so another big game from this past week was when the Liberty played the Fever for all the obvious reasons. It's like two heavyweights.
In Indiana.
Yeah, in Indiana. Two heavyweights facing off in like that early season matchup. What does this mean? How do you stack up? All those questions. And it was a great game. It had a lot of ebbs and flows to it. Indiana got down pretty big at one point, climbed back. So you saw a lot in this game, but what ended up sticking out at the end was kind of the final, let's call it 20, 30 seconds or so. The series of events was tie game, Indiana ball. Caitlin drives the lane, drops it to DeWanna Bonner, who goes up for like essentially a layup, gets blocked. Could have been a foul. I have to admit, they showed the replay once and only once, and it was just from one angle, and it was hard to tell. And there was a lot of body involved. So Natasha Cloud blocked it, but like, did she get her arm or was it just the ball? Hard to tell. Did she get her body a little bit? Because DeWanna does fall. That one I thought in real time, I was like, that was a foul. But they didn't call it. Okay. Then the Liberty come down. Sabrina drives and does her little sidestep where she gets into Lexi Hall's body. They call the foul. I thought it was a foul. Next play, Caitlin, which I'm sure everybody saw this highlight, goes to pull from three, and Natasha pokes it out from underneath. I didn't think it was a foul. But what ultimately ended up happening was everybody was chatting about the refs. And Stephanie White was, in particular not happy. She quote said, "I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games." I know, Megan, you have some thoughts on this.
Well, first of all, cheeky little steal by Tosh.
Yeah.
That was like, that's some like.
That's elite. I don't think people understand how elite that is.
Exactly. That's some like, I feel like when we talk about creativity, we always talk about it on offense or in an offensive setting. But yeah, when you have like really elite defenders like that, I feel like especially guards, because they're having to like do so much. Shout out Tasha. That was nice. Just like poking it out from like underneath.
Well, something to add to that before you get into your referee take. I can't remember if it was a quote Natasha said or somebody else said, but listen, the longer you're in this league, the more people know your rhythms and your habits. And what Caitlin has shown is when she goes left, she shoots. When she goes right, she drives. And so when you're a defender and you know that, that's another part of like the understanding and then what can be tapped into in terms of the creativity. Like I'm sure Natasha knew, she crossed over, she's going left, like she's pulling at some point.
Yeah.
And
like
so you can kind of read it.
Her right?
You can just, her right? No, her left. She's going left, she has the ball in her left hand.
But if she's coming to gather it, then
it's on her left side.
Okay.
And so it's coming over, and so that's when she tipped it.
Yeah, right.
The ball hadn't got off her
saying.
left hip yet.
Gotcha.
And so you're able to read these things, and that's where Natasha's really showing herself as an elite defender. But obviously, some people thought it was a foul.
Well, Stephanie White thought it was a foul for sure. I'm just like, I did a fair bit of complaining in my day too. I would say the majority of my yellow cards and the only 2 red cards I've ever received all came from jawing at the ref about fouls. So I actually don't think I have any leg to stand on here. Nevertheless, here I am. I'm just like, you don't want to become the girl, the team, the coach, the player who cries wolf all the time. It's just like, I feel like sometimes it's just like constant. And like, to what end? And I think especially around the Fever team and especially around Caitlin, this has like been a thing. It was a thing last year. Like sometimes you just have to like play through it and like earn a little bit more respect or whatever. And then like things just kind of play themselves out. I don't know. I just feel like constantly having that narrative doesn't do your team or you really any good. With that said, obviously you have to like go to bat for your team and whatever. But I'm just kind of like, it's too much. I think it's too much. Players who are just constantly asking for fouls all the time, it's just annoying. And I feel like you get less fouls because people like are just like, no. And the refs are just
So that's
like, no.
the issue. I think in the WNBA, there's nothing new about this type of complaining, this type of bringing it to the media. There's been scenarios where it's been rewarded. There's been scenarios where it has, I think, played negatively and been like a bad thing for teams. They get in like a mental state. But it's just, I mean, you literally just said you would dot the refs. It's the game within the game. If anyone can play that, it's the coach. I think it works out to teams' favors when the team, meaning the players, understand the coach is going to do that. And they can't also take on that identity. Let the coach do it in the media. Let them do it in the game. And as a player, of course, you're going to react and have moments of, emotion or moments of complaining or whatever it is. But I think when you have the balance where the coach is taking on the brunt of it, so that's why I have no problem with this. It's like, this is the game within the game. She's just playing it. And she has her players' backs, which, you have to develop that relationship. So I don't overthink this shit like at all. At all. Now, if it happens every single game, where she's saying it's egregious and we're not getting respect, at some point that will run its course and then it becomes too much. But it's early. She's just kind of trying to set a tone. And honestly, they'll probably get a good whistle for the next couple games.
Okay.
But will it matter? Because Caitlin hurt herself.
Yeah, true.
Caitlin, left quad strain, happened in the game. She's now out for, it says 2 weeks. And luckily, paging Dr. Rapinoe, we have someone
reporting for duty
who can really weigh in on these types of injuries. So what do you think people don't know about this injury? What is your prognosis? Give us a glimpse.
Even though my expertise is more in hamstrings and calves.
This is true.
I was really stretching the back of my body to eke out any bit of speed that was left in there at the end. I think the main thing is like, what grade is it? So it's usually 1, 2, 3, or you've like torn your quad. Mm-hmm. I feel like for muscle injuries, it's just like you have to be patient with them. They can totally linger and be really annoying and last for a long time if you keep trying to like come back early. So you don't want to, I think the most important thing is like not re-aggravate it. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem, they said out a couple of weeks. So I feel like that's probably even on the more like precautionary side. So it doesn't seem like a huge one, but I would just say, take your time, recover fully.
Yeah.
It's probably also...
We just saw it with Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think he would have been playing? It was the playoffs. Yeah. This is not something you can rush.
It's not like an ankle where you can tape up. It's like if you go out on it early, it'll just tear more. It'll just be worse and it'll just get worse. I wonder too, this is probably the longest that she's gone without playing basketball in a really long time. And so I wonder just if the travel, the game schedule, the explosiveness of playing after, probably the longest layoff that she's had, in her career thus far, just maybe has a little something to do with it. But, from Dr. Rapinoe, I don't think this is going to be anything that the fans need to be really stressed about, even though in the next couple of weeks we're going to miss her.
So obviously another big conversation around this injury is just how, she's missing however many games in those next couple of weeks. Some of those games, the one against the Mystics was moved to Baltimore, a larger arena. The one against the Sky moved to the United Center, a larger arena. So, okay, first, is she going to travel? Like in your experience, in your soccer experience, what do you guys do? Like, do injured players travel? Do you have a take on that?
I would say that, my personal preference was to never travel until I was like in my return to play program where I'm actually benefiting from either like going through the warm up or being part of practice. Otherwise,
you go through the warm up, but you don't play in the game.
Sometimes that was like part of the return to play.
Like the preliminary warm up.
Yeah, the preliminary warm up. Yeah. Okay. Or even the game warm up. Like you're not ready to play in the game, but it'd be beneficial for you to do this like 30 minutes of warm up. Because that's where you're at in your return to play. You've just started kicking the ball again, or you've just started doing agility or whatever it may be. But otherwise, you're just adjusting your schedule around the team schedule, which is such a nightmare because you're either having to like get up really early or like smush this hour in. And then you're like the last priority when you're injured.
You need to
like
be
mentally and
your own
emotionally,
priority,
you need to be the first priority. It's so frustrating. And then you're like taking away from people who are trying to like play in the games, and you only have, so many trainers, whatever. So I would say she's probably not traveling.
But given they're in larger arenas and she's a big draw, is there anything there you think she might travel? I actually saw something before we started recording that the Sky game, the ticket price has already like significantly dropped, which by the way is, I feel like, par for the course when a star player
Yeah, I'm like,
gets hurt.
I don't think she should feel any pressure to travel. I don't think she should travel unless it's the absolute best thing for her. I mean, this is where like the entertainment and the business of it gets involved with what these players are actually doing, which is like just trying to be the best they can. Honestly, she probably shouldn't travel. And I'm like, for all these fans, this is, first of all, the WNBA was awesome before Caitlin got here. And it's been awesome for a really long time. And these games have been super exciting the whole time. So like, they're probably going to go, and yes, they might be a little disappointed that they don't see Caitlin play, but they're probably going to go and like get an amazing game and then be like, oh, wow, this is awesome. I love the WNBA. So I think everybody should continue to go. I hope those stadiums are really full and that people continue to go. But I don't think she should like feel pressure to go just so people can breathe the same air as her.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I mean, I just think I'm like, yeah, a player got injured. And it's a bummer because of who she is and what she attracts, for sure. I'm not getting too caught up in a lot of the, headlines and storylines and what people are saying. I mean, I've seen some stuff where it's like people don't want to go and because she's not playing, which is fair if that's who you want to see. But then in some ways, I'm just like, you're now doing a disservice to her. Because like supporting the league, for those that don't realize it, supporting the league is supporting Caitlin. So if you want to support Caitlin, you have to support the league. Like she's a part of that ecosystem. She doesn't get to like just separate herself out. So that's kind of one thing that just doesn't add up to me. So I just don't even think about it or take it seriously. The only thing that really stood out, to be honest, was there was one quote in one of the front office sports articles that, it said, it's unclear whether the teams will provide any compensation for fans who bought tickets to their games. And I was like, what?
Grow up.
Like this is just, injuries are a part of it. Again, I get it. It sucks.
Yeah.
If you bought a ticket to see somebody and they're hurt, I get it. That is like a big bummer. But no, you would never say that about men's sports. If LeBron was out or Steph Curry or the big names were out for a couple weeks, they would never be like, oh, we're going to reimburse you guys. Sorry about that. That's like, now you're just not taking the WNBA as a business. You're not seeing it as a business. So that's really that like proposed refund thing. That's the only thing that really stuck out where I was like, what are we talking about here? And I think otherwise, all the chitter chatter around it, I don't get caught up in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, she's hurt. It sucks. And the league will continue to go on.
Well, I feel like one of the undertones also is that the health and growth of the league depends solely on Caitlin. And
she's a big part of it.
No.
I mean, call a spade a spade.
I do not think you can undersell or underestimate the importance and the impact that Caitlin has had on the W and on like women's sports.
It's like both ends.
In general. She is a certified A1 superstar.
100%.
Like it's not even a question. And also the health of the WNBA and the health of women's sports goes beyond just what Caitlin is able to do and the impact that she's had. In part, she's had this impact and has been able to be so successful and so popular because of the WNBA and because of the platform that it provides. So I feel like anyone saying like, oh, then, nobody's going to go. You're just like kind of, it's sort of an undertone. You're like undermining the rest of the W, which is still totally exciting and awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, we hope she's back as soon as possible because we want to be seeing her play every week.
Yeah, we talked about this last week where it's like the Fever Sky viewership was amazing. It was like 3 million, whatever it was.
Of course.
The Liberty Aces was like still, I forget the exact numbers, but like well over 1 million. I think peaked in the 2s. Yeah. So it's like you're still, it's the
And it's sports.
I don't
like,
want to,
it
like
happens.
I said, I'm not taking any
injuries happen.
of it.
It's sports. We hope she gets well soon. Support for A Touch More comes from Ring. If you're an avid listener of the pod, you don't need us to tell you how important good defense is. With Ring doorbells and cameras, you can get security and peace of mind at home or on the go. And A Touch More fans will be glad to hear that Ring is a strong supporter of women's sports. They're expanding partnerships across leagues, including the WNBA and the National Women's Soccer League. With Ring, you can get security and peace of mind from anywhere. Learn more at ring.com.
Support for A Touch More comes from Paramount Plus. For streaming the best soccer in the world, look no further than Paramount Plus. With live matches, highlights, and full match replays, Paramount Plus brings you all the nonstop action from kickoff to the final whistle, including the 2025 NWSL Championship. This season is already full of great storylines, and it's just going to get better. You can watch U.S. Women's National Team stars like Lynn Biondolo, Sam Coffey, and the Thompson sisters dazzle for their club teams. Or you can follow the legendary Marta as she seeks to lead Orlando to a repeat title. Or watch rising phenoms like MVP Temwa Chawinga continue her record-breaking run with Kansas City. You can witness it all as it unfolds with Paramount Plus, available on any device. It's also the streaming home for top-tier soccer all over the globe, including the UEFA Champions League, Serie A, and the EFL Carabao Cup. Point is, if you're a soccer fan, it's a must-have streaming service that lets you stay tuned in all year long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/livesports and get started today. Yeah, but the injury of Caitlin does bring us to just injuries in the WNBA in general, not just right now, but in general, and something that Cam Brink talked about on her podcast recently, Straight to Cam, where she talks about how, and this is very true, on a 12-person roster, some teams have 11 because of salary cap issues.
Wild.
Not issues, sorry, because of salary cap. Well, why is it wild?
Well, I just feel like why
you're fitting a number into the salary cap,
I know.
and some teams they pay players or they have like higher earning players, so then it can only fit 11.
I know, and I'm just like, they should have more players.
Well, good. I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what Cam said. So Cam just made the point that having 11, having 12, we talked. Seattle Storm only has 10 because Katie Lou sadly got hurt. A couple injuries, you're down to 9.
Yeah,
and you can't actually have a replacement player until you get down beyond that. So it's hard. All of a sudden, we said this, layup lines get real hard, practice gets hard, you can't even scrimmage against each other.
From one layup line to the next.
Yeah, it's tough. So what she actually said was she wants to expand rosters before expanding teams and adding new franchises. And, I don't disagree.
Mm-hmm.
And you just said, like, yeah, add more roster spots. It's just, this is a CBA conversation.
Totally.
This isn't like people chose this or wanted it. This was the give and the take, and what do we get here? We have to give there, and vice versa. I would go out on a limb. And say everybody wants owners, players, and I'm not saying this from either seat. I think just a zoomed out opinion is everybody probably wants more roster spots. You think teams like it?
Yeah.
That they're down to 9? No, of course not.
No, Kathy, owners, and the players all want
I think
more.
everybody does. But, so if you use the current CBA and the current salary cap, if you added a 13th, 14th, 15th player, that means everybody's money goes down. So do you want to give up money as a player to add those roster spots? Those are the negotiations you have.
Yeah.
The other part of it is, and this is where I don't necessarily agree with Cam, is look at the Valkyries. So when you add franchises, okay, it brings in more money. It brings in more attention. They generally do really well. It brings in this additional revenue. And if you look at the Valkyries, they've sold out their season tickets.
Smashing.
There's something, I don't know if easier is the right thing, but a new franchise, I'm sure Toronto will do it. I'm sure Portland will do it. They bring in a revenue because they're not this like legacy team.
Yeah.
They're this new, fun, shiny toy.
Yeah.
And you need that revenue for like the larger pie. But then in the same breath, and this maybe I go back to agreeing with her, in the same breath, when a new team comes in, you're now splitting the pie by more.
Yeah.
So they help bring in money, but now you're splitting it by, now 13 teams, soon to be 15, maybe 16.
Yeah.
So it's really a math like money equation that when they get in the nitty-gritty of the CBA negotiations, it'll be talked about and there'll be a give and a take. And hopefully they land somewhere where both sides are happy.
I think also what's happening is there's sort of like, there's multiple things happening at the same time, all under the crunch of a CBA that everybody wants to renegotiate. And clearly the league, the players, the owners, everybody's grown out of this CBA. But those don't get negotiated overnight.
I know.
And so
you're bringing up an issue that can't be fixed until the next
and
CBA.
So we're having like a convergence of all of these issues where it's like the CBA is in process of being negotiated right now. Of course, it's a really positive thing that the W is expanding, and that needed to happen when it happened, and it's already happening. The Valkyries are doing amazing. It's been a huge boom for business, for the W, but just for sports in general, and obviously that franchise is doing really good. And it's becoming clear more roster spots are needed and more money is needed to pay those players and all of that. So it's like you're just in this like growing period right now where like, yes, when the new CBA gets negotiated, a lot of these things will be alleviated because they'll be addressed and it'll be like what everybody wants and everybody seems pretty aligned on that. But it's like in this moment where just like everybody knows it hurts, but the CBA is the longest, most arduous, slow-moving process out of all of the things that can possibly be done like in the sports landscape.
And just to add to that, that will happen again. That is every CBA needs to be lived in before you see the holes and what's needed and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
and it'll happen
we'll
quickly.
see in 5 years.
It'll happen quickly because the
Talking
W is growing so rapidly. It's really hard. I mean, think 3 years ago how much the W has changed, and 3 years before that, and 3 years obviously into the future. That'll just like continue to happen really quickly.
Well, one of the other changes that we're seeing, and I believe it'll just continue to do this, we're seeing a lot more international players come over. And it's going to continue to do that because the money is going to keep going up.
Yeah.
And those players are going to be even more incentivized. I think they've always been incentivized to like check out the best league in the world. A big time, where do I stack up? A big time, this gets me better.
Yeah.
But now they're going to have the financial incentive as well in this new CBA. But I bring this up because one team that has a ton of international flavor, I call them EuroLeague Light, is the Valkyries.
EuroLeague Light, that's
they
funny.
went super heavy. In a heartwarming post-game moment, Carla Late admits, her English isn't so great. And, since we have our resident French expert here, fluent, I thought you could give it a shot at translation.
Obviously, no problem.
Yeah, so let us
C'est pas problème.
Yeah. So let's take a listen, and Megan's going to tell us what she's saying.
Carla, second win in Valkyries franchise history. What does that mean to you in this franchise?
Sorry, my English is not very good, so she will. Ouais.
Deuxième victoire, qu'est-ce que ça fait?
On est trop contente, j'espère qu'on va continuer sur cette durée et on va faire une série, quoi.
Okay.
By the way that your neck just leaned in, like, say what?
Okay, the first thing I want to say is this is what French people say every single time.
My English is not good.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My English isn't very good, and it's not going to be possible for me to do this
in perfect English
interview in English. And so I'm going to have this person translate for me so I can get the nuance of what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah, you already told on
And
yourself.
we're like, okay. They all speak such great English. It's wild. So basically, she was like, I had a lot of fun playing, and I was really proud of our performance, and it's really good to get the win.
Let's go to the videotape.
She's super happy, and she hope we're gonna keep going like to play like that, and yeah, I mean, she's happy. She's happy.
Exactly. What did I say?
I don't know.
What did I say, people? I got it. Yes.
Perfecto.
Parfait.
C'est magnifique.
C'est magnifique. Je peux parler parfait. So, try me again.
I will.
Maybe I could become the
hope
league's
Carla
official translator.
I hope Carla keeps balling.
Yeah,
And get more
same.
interviews.
Yeah, we need more Carla content so I can continue to learn French. There are a lot of Frenchies in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They are very passionate about their sporting culture there. They really are. Anyways, topic 2. We're on to the soccers. There was a lot happening
Yeah.
in the soccer. A lot of really like different things happening.
A lot of cups.
A lot of cups
Guys
happening.
love your
cups. Gotham won the CONCACAF final.
That's right, baby.
Versus Tigre. Oh yeah, resident owner. Versus Tigre from Liga MX Femenil.
They were hype. I was happy for them.
They were hype. Yeah. They've like kind of like silently collected a number of trophies over the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Ripped one from my grasp. That was tough. I have a question for you, actually, and I have some thoughts. Because then I'm like, okay, we're doing like a CONCACAF. Like sometimes it's just, you said this, it's just like make 'em ups. Like what are these games and what do they mean? But like, what's Champions League? What
What's a
difference?
league?
No, it's like a make 'em up cup. You take all the best teams from all the best leagues,
And they play
you
each
do that,
other
and they
until
play each
there's
other.
two
Right.
left.
So this is like kind of the same. It's just on
They
a
play it in
smaller
a
scale.
tournament?
So this is the tournament.
How many games?
I'm not sure, but it's like all the teams from CONCACAF.
Champions League is a league. This is like a made up tournament.
No, Champions League isn't like Premier League though, or like the WNBA. That's not Champions League.
What is it?
It's like
It's
a
not
cup.
EuroLeague?
Yeah, it's like a EuroLeague.
That's a league. We played teams in
But
groups.
it's a
and
turn.
then-
It's a long extended tournament.
Do you play? Wait.
It's not like a domestic league. I would differentiate
I
of
know.
like it's a cup, Champions League. They just call it Champions League, but it's like the same as
I know. So
Whatever.
my question is, do they play in groups and then like, the top however many
Yeah.
teams get a? Yeah, that's a league. And by the way, it's called Champions. What?
league.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I know. You know what I'm saying though.
No, I don't. Like EuroLeague in basketball, yes, you play in, for me, I played in the Russian league, a domestic league, and you play all the teams however many times, and then from there you go to the playoffs. And then EuroLeague, you get put in groups,
Yeah.
and you play your group, and the top would ever go, and then you go into a playoff
Yeah.
system. It's a league. You're in two leagues. The same way like in college
Okay.
basketball,
I see what you're
in the
saying.
Big East, and then you're also playing your, non-conference schedule.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
That's actually
I
not a
think
league.
I think this is more like a league than like just like one
CONCACAF?
friendly. Well, CONCACAF is the confederation in which all these teams play in.
I know. And what I find
It's
interesting
like
about
Europe.
soccer.
CONCACAF is Europe.
I know, but what I find
UEFA.
interesting about soccer in the CONCACAF system situation here is that Gotham is a team from a league
Yeah.
playing against other teams from other leagues during the league season that it's in.
Yes, just like Champions League.
I know, but that is like that's all of Europe, no?
Yes, and this is all of CONCACAF.
I know, but okay. So
All of Europe
I
is
just
all
can't
of
imagine.
UEFA. That's what it is. Like UEFA is the same as like Euro
Okay,
is
fair.
the same as like whatever. Well, CONCACAF or like African Cup or Asian Cup or
You
whatever.
know what it is? I think it's because this is what's happening. That's actually a really good point, and it's exactly the way I just explained EuroLeague. It's so annoying when you do that. It makes me not want to say good point. Celebrate. This is actually Are You Megan, Are You Sue? Later, there's another just great setup. No. So yeah, you are explaining it. I think it's because like in America, we don't do that.
I know. I know.
So
we
I'm just
haven't
like, it
traditionally.
doesn't feel right.
Yeah, well, this is kind of what I'm getting to. I am like, because I was a little bit skeptical of it, but I'm like, oh, okay. I actually think this is really good. First of all, I love the like cross promotion of leagues, fans, like cross exposure. So
Yeah.
now all these fans that are big fans of Liga MX are getting exposed to the NWSL and vice versa. So is there a way to grow the global fan base that way? I mean, that's why Champions League is so popular. EuroLeague is so popular because you're getting all these different teams from all these different leagues, from all these different countries, different styles. And it's just like the mashup of the best. Obviously in North
I
America.
thought CONCACAF was a cup.
No, CONCACAF is
There's so many
a
C's in there. I thought
confederation.
one has to stand for cup.
No, CONCACAF is
Because if
hold on, let me
CONCACAF
find
doesn't
it.
sound made up, guys.
No, CONCACAF is the Confederations of North America. I need to Google
they
it.
use the O of to make CONCACAF.
I need to Google it because it's
Because
so
nobody
funny.
knows.
Honestly, it's like
You're searching it up.
CONCACAF is such a word that if you're in North America, like you just know it.
You have
it
a
means
medal.
so many different
You have
things.
a medal in our safe, and on the
CONCACAF.
strap it says CONCACAF.
That would mean EuroLeague, UEFA.
I know.
like
I would
whatever.
never keep that one.
It's the Confederation of North Central America and Caribbean Association of Football.
Man, they pulled the
CONCACAF.
ofs and the ands.
Yeah.
Usually don't do that.
Well, anyways, that's what
I
it is.
guess yeah.
So now you know what CONCACAF is.
CONCACAF wouldn't work.
It would be like, like EuroLeague.
Okay, fair. But
So I'm
you know what you're
really-
missing though? The thousands of years of existence to give it an importance.
Exactly.
Like no.
But my point is that
No, it's a great point.
well, my question
stand
really
corrected.
and what I'm like seeing for a very long-term growth of soccer in this region
Yeah.
is like, does this become now? I don't think it's going to become this, but like, does this become an enticing pull away from the Champions League of like, okay, we have our domestic league, but something that is like big in European sports is like you have your domestic league, you have your domestic cup, and then you have EuroLeague or some sort of like larger championship, does this help eventually, whether it's like prize money or competition or like winning more trophies, does that entice players from Europe coming here? Probably not in the near future because Champions League is the shit and it's like so much fun. And does it keep NWSL players here and our domestic players here more, or even keep maybe like Mexican players here more, or Caribbean players here more, or, you know, Canadian players here more, playing in this region of the world instead of going to Europe?
Yeah. My only, final thoughts on this is, one, soccer, you guys love a trophy.
Exactly.
You love playing for a trophy.
You love playing
You
for a
really
trophy.
treat them all
The same.
The same.
Yeah. Like there's levels to them, but like,
No, yeah, you treat
if
them all
you
the
get
same.
to drink beer out of a trophy, it's the
I know,
best thing
and
you've
that's
ever
why
done
you
in your
still
life.
have your CONCACAF medal in the safe. Like
Well,
next year Olympic
We
medal. Anyways,
won
I
that
digress.
region. Yeah.
I know. Great job.
Thank you.
The other thing is, I think in this back and forth, we've gotten to the actual kind of like crux of it, which is in the US, basketball is like the premier sport, a prominent sport, and we view ourselves as the best. So I'm really just talking about Americans right now and just how much we love ourselves.
That's
But
right.
we're like, I think the WNBA, the NBA, it's not like, we don't need to play anybody else. Like, this is it. You guys come here and we'll
There's no
play.
one else for you to play.
No, but I'm saying, but in Europe, it's like you're competing against other countries. That's what the EuroLeague is.
Yeah, in other leagues. Yeah.
Right.
What's it like the NBA gonna compete with like the Mexican league for the
Well,
trophy?
it would be the,
No.
what would it be? It'd be the
CONCACAF.
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 The CONCACAF. It would be CONCACAF. Bub.
Bub.
You change the football to a basketball.
CONCACAF.
The CONCACAF. You just wouldn't see it. Or it would
You
be a
wouldn't see it.
total exhibition game.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you who's not drinking beer out of the cup at the end. Any basketball player. Well, no, if somebody beat an NBA team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I digress. That's really where we've landed.
Yeah.
Americans, we basketball, we love ourselves.
Yeah, you love yourself.
We think we're the best.
Anyways, I'm so happy we got through that. Congrats to Gotham on winning the CONCACAF, not the CONCACAF, CONCACAF final. Great to get another trophy in the trophy case, but really that takes us to
CONCACAF. It's the CONCACAF.
the CONCACAF.
I just need a second.
Really, that takes us to the Champions League.
Yes.
Women's Champions League final was played in Lisbon over the weekend. Arsenal won in, I think, a really surprising win. They beat Barcelona 1-0 on a Blackstenius goal.
Yeah, we were watching.
I think everyone thought Barcelona was going to win. I think Barcelona thought Barcelona was going to win.
They're loaded.
Barcelona's stacked.
Yeah.
Arsenal's freaking good, though. And Kim Little, you had a Kim Little jersey
I did.
way back when. We're so partial to Kim
Morgan
Little.
Valley has a Kim Little jersey.
Yeah,
to
Morgan's
this
gotta
day.
be
Morgan's
pumped.
been an OG. Morgan Valley is an assistant coach at the University of Connecticut, obviously a former teammate. Lived in Seattle for a while when she coached at UW and was like obsessed with Kim Little. We
Yeah.
go to the games all the time, obsessed. Has a jersey still to this day. She's probably wearing it today.
Yeah.
Loves Kim Little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So happy to see Captain Kim Little hoist his trophy. It's the club's first European championship. I don't even know if it was called Women's Champions League back then. I feel like they weren't allowing them to use the Champions League logo or the branding, but the first one since 2007. So it's been a long time. Kim is just the salt of the earth. She's one of the best players I've ever played with. This has been like so elusive to her. This is like her, well, not her little childhood club because she's from Scotland, but like she's played at Arsenal the whole time, like since she was a teenager. And even when she played with the Rain, she would like go back and play with Arsenal. And I know it was really like she loved her time with the Rain, but it was really difficult to like not be at home and playing for Arsenal. And she's just a fucking legend. And it's like so cool to have those moments of seeing players who like the team just means so much to them. Leah Williamson also.
Oh, that's my favorite part.
There's an amazing picture of Leah.
Oh,
I could
it's the
cry
best
talking
part.
about it. Leah is a ball girl in an Arsenal uniform.
Just a little pup.
Just a little pup, like walking out with a player, and now she's like co-captain. And
Well, they showed the side by side of her as a youngin walking out as a ball girl
it
and then
was
her
so
winning.
cute.
So
And obviously
amazing.
Leah, has battled back from injury and lifted the Euro championship as a captain of England, and so it's just really cool. I think everyone kind of like in the soccer world was just like this is cool. And everyone's really happy for them. Also, 2 Americans, Jenna Niswanger and Emily Fox, play for the Arsenal. Emily started the game and played. She's soaring there. She's honestly doing so well and just crushing. So it's amazing. Also, and actually more importantly,
I'm looking something up on CONCACAF.
my favorite part of major championships is the 24 to 48 hours after the game is done, where the players just have license and free reign to do, say, and be however the fuck they want. They had a huge parade in London. Obviously, mics were thrown around, beer was thrown around, drinks were thrown around. They're like totally celebrating. And Katie McCabe understood the assignment.
She sure did.
And absolutely smashed and was smashed her time on the mic. Let's take a listen. I just was like, chef's kiss, Katie. You nailed it.
Need one big fucking cheer for Kimmy Little! She is the Scottish queen right now. She just left the Champions League trophy on Saturday night. And she is a fucking legend of this football club! Kimmy, Kimmy, Kimmy! 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 Kimmy, Kimmy, Kimmy! Mic drop!
Mic drop.
It's one of those things where it's like, you don't know what is going to come out of that person's mouth next. And then it's just some normal shit. And also, Kim would have been mortified because Kim's so shy.
And I feel like they couldn't even find her.
They couldn't even find
that
her.
clip.
She's
they were like
so
searching
shy.
for her. She's
she
probably
like doesn't want the spotlight ever. And so, you know, to have the club and obviously all the club supporters be able to celebrate her like this is just so cool. Congratulations to everybody, Arsenal. Congratulations mostly to Kim Little.
Okay, back to CONCACAF for a second. I just looked, and Gotham didn't play any group CONCACAF games in 2025. So I think that's where I get confused. So maybe you can explain it. That's where I get confused.
Okay.
The 2025 Gotham team only played in the semis and the finals.
Yes.
It was the 2024 team, according to this, that played in the group stage. But like those are 2 different rosters.
Yes.
So
Okay. So what does need to be said is that these are like nascent cups. Like they're new. We're trying things out. We're trying to be like, okay,
teach me.
the Mexican
I am the
League,
lay fan.
They're champions. How do we get them playing? Our champions, like Club World Cup, like Champions League, whatever. So this is a new tournament. I think my overall point is like, are these cups and these tournaments and these things that live outside of these competitions that live outside of your normal domestic league, I think those things are good for the sport and potentially over time can be attractive for players either staying in the NWSL or getting more players from overseas to come and play in the NWSL.
Okay.
So it's just like other shiny things to go for.
It's the Commissioner's Cup in the WNBA.
Exactly.
Ish.
Exactly. A special player who we hope will continue to find the NWSL really attractive to play in is Trinity Rodman. And for all those who didn't see it, she let everybody know she's working, she's grinding, she's been in the gym. She said, quote, "Yes, I'm grinding almost every day in PT to get back on the field. No, I'm not just being a wagon vacationing. Thank you." I could just like see the way she says it. I'm sure she's getting shit in her comments of people being like, "Are you even doing what you're supposed to be doing?" But back injuries take a long time. As I well know, I'm still getting over my sneeze and sees. But Trin, we see you working, and we really do hope you're back and stay, honestly, forever in the WSL.
For this week's Intersection, we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into the business of women's sports. We're going to start with ice hockey legend Hillary Knight, something she posted on, I think she posted on her Instagram, but you can also find it on the Together channels. And she tells a story. She's basically like, I was at, I don't even know, like the garden center. She was like, I was getting stuff for my garden.
Doing some farmer's market stuff, guys.
She was at the garden center and she had the Everybody Watches Women's Sports t-shirt on. And she's like, I was just doing my thing. And then a guy like approached me and basically saw my shirt and went out of his way to say, hey, that's not true. Nobody watches women's sports, and was like dead ass serious. And first of all, it's just like, I mean, Hillary says it in her clip. She's just like, bro,
Okay.
do you have eyeballs? Do we need to like review again?
Are you okay?
Like all the numbers, all the viewership, all the, like, name it. Women's sports has generated like, or is projected to generate in the billions. So that video hit for obvious reasons. We've all experienced that, but it always brings me back to what we've actually been fighting this whole time, which is it was never enough for people to not like it. And what do I always say? There are sports I don't like and I don't choose to watch, but I don't go out of my way to shit on them. And that's always been the issue. Okay, bro, you don't like women's sports? Great. Why do you have to dump on it? Why do you have to ruin Hillary's day because she's wearing this t-shirt? That right there is like the crazy making part. But that has impacted the business. It has impacted the narrative around women's sports. And obviously, he just looks so foolish because business is booming.
Yeah. Sir, I'm just like, this is a classic, like anything but therapy, because it's just like, why are you taking time out of your day to like walk up to this legend of American sports, to
Literal Captain America.
to like have your say? Because what's actually happening, I'm going to use a very specific example. In 2019, which was 6 years ago, Clara Wu and Joe Tsai bought the Liberty from anywhere between $10 and $15 million, right?
Oh my God, it might have been less.
It might have been even less.
I think it was. I think it was like 5.
And recently, they had another raise on a valuation of $450 million. So I would say that's a pretty good ROI, and that doesn't come with nobody watching women's sports.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's actually happening. Like, that's what's happening to every franchise. That's what's happening to every league. That's what's happening to every media deal. That's what's happening to almost every player's bank account. Like, it's all going up. There was a really cool study or presentation report put out by Barbarian and The Gist, and basically like detailing these 4 pillars in the growth of women's sports, which when we read this, we were like, is this the inside of our brain from like every year prior to
the
this?
last 15 years.
For the last, and I'm sure everybody who's been in women's sports for this long is like, yeah, obviously. It's the cross-section between, they call it the cultural operating system, which was great. I love that. The cross-section between amplification, community, value, and connectivity. And basically what they're saying is when you start where the culture is, which is in the community, which women's sports always has had an incredible community. That's why everybody watches women's sports shirts have done so well, whether it's at the NWSL or the women's national team or at the Final Four. Like, that's where it really starts. So we've invested in that. We've connected those people with other fans. We've connected them with their leagues and sports, and obviously given them much more content and player access and accessibility to watch games, all of that. You amplify all that across culture. So now we're talking whether that's like photo shoots or Met Gala appearances or players going wherever. There's just so much more in the culture. So you're like amplifying that outside of women's sports and across other culture. And then the capital fuels all of that. So without the capital, a la the Clara Wu and the Joe Tsai investing what they did in the Liberty. And they've done it like so perfectly. Like, this whole presentation is exactly what they've done. They've invested in the community. They've invested in the Brooklyn specific vibe that is the New York Liberty at Barclays. In 6 years after buying the team, probably closer to like $5 million, their team is now valued at $450 million.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So that's what's actually happening in women's sports, and that's really the narrative that obviously we want to talk about, but also just the larger narrative that continues to need to be, that needs to continue to be talked about.
Well, debunked.
And debunked. Yeah. I mean, this just takes me back to Kate Fagan's article 100 years ago that was like, the groundwater was already poisoned. It's like, just take the cement off of us and then, God forbid, give us a little bit of water, and boom, we turn into a $500 million ROI on your investment. So congrats to Liberty and Claire and Joe. They've obviously done an amazing job. But also just shout out to all of us in women's sports because we knew this and we bet on ourselves and now it's really happening and it's just like amazing to see.
It is amazing. My favorite thing is that every time a WNBA team and NWSL teams too, we're seeing it in the PWHL also. Like every time a team is either bought, a franchise is started, or in this case, money is raised, a new like record-breaking valuation comes out. It's literally like it feels like every 5 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Which just shows the trajectory of it all. Support for A Touch More comes from Paramount Plus. For streaming the best soccer in the world, look no further than Paramount Plus. With live matches, highlights, and full match replays, Paramount Plus brings you all the nonstop action from kickoff to the final whistle, including the 2025 NWSL Championship. This season is already full of great storylines, and it's just going to get better. You can watch U.S. Women's National Team stars like Lynn Biondolo, Sam Coffey, and the Thompson sisters dazzle for their club teams. Or you can follow the legendary Marta as she seeks to lead Orlando to a repeat title. Or watch rising phenoms like MVP Temwa Chawinga continue her record-breaking run with Kansas City. You can witness it all as it unfolds with Paramount Plus, available on any device. It's also the streaming home for top-tier soccer all over the globe, including the UEFA Champions League, Serie A, and the EFL Carabao Cup. Point is, if you're a soccer fan, it's a must-have streaming service that lets you stay tuned in all year long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/livesports and get started today. All right, now it's time for Are You a Megan or Are You a Sue? I guess theater and theater can be put to the side because we do have one that came up when we watched the Kelsey Plum highlight. Plum's been doing her thing in LA. She scored a layup on Angel Reese against the Sky the other night and then hit her with the too small. And that kind of inspired this conversation. It kind of inspired this Are You a Megan or Are You a Sue? And it's pretty simple. Megan has a flair for that moment and a flair for the celebration. And I don't. So it's really simple. Yeah, it's really simple. Are you a Megan or are you Sue? If you scored a big bucket, if you kicked a game-winning penalty kick, like whatever the case is, like what kind of celebrator are you? Are you doing a too small? Is really what the question is. Megan would be doing too smalls on toddlers. You would be too small in everybody.
Don't get a baby near me.
Forget a tall. You'd be too small in everybody.
Get your baby and
your
baby jeans away from me.
So you know the drill. Call 1-833-A-TOUCH-8 and let us know. I have to say, a lot of times people ask me like, do you have any regrets in your career? And I really don't. I feel really lucky. I think I should have celebrated more.
Well,
I think I took it like a tiny bit too seriously in terms of like I didn't want to get off my game.
Yeah.
Although I always did have an aspect of me like, act like you've done it. Like it's a layup.
Yeah.
Act like you've done it. But I do wish, looking back, and I've had some game winners, I do wish I celebrated more. I started to in my very, 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 very last games.
Yeah, you were leaving a hand up there a little longer than you really did.
I had one game where I did that.
Your epic game against Phoenix in 2018 where you hit like a million threes in a row. One of my favorite parts of that whole
my big exhale
highlight clip is it probably was the most I've ever seen you celebrate of you hitting the last three and a big exhale. And then you just turn around and like walk back.
Well, I started walking back and I went, oh, thank God.
Yeah, I know.
That's what that exhale
was.
was.
And I was like, oh, baby girl just did her
exhausted.
biggest celebration ever.
I was exhausted.
I know you're exhausted.
What people don't know about that
like,
moment.
Imagine me if I just hit 5 threes in a row.
I can't
like
imagine you.
I mean, I
would
probably
never hear the end of it.
I would have been up in the rafters, like swinging around.
The thing people don't know about that moment for me, because obviously only I would know this.
Yeah.
I prepared for that series and then particularly that game in ways where I was so locked in. And one of the biggest priorities of that series was not to show emotion because Diana thrives off other teams' emotion. So I was constantly talking to AC, to the whole team, but AC in particular, because she was guarding D, like, no matter what, good, bad, you don't get the call, you get the call. You can't show her shit. She like fuels off of it.
Yeah.
So I was just in such a focused place of like, don't show emotion, combined with the exhale. Oh my God, thank God. Thank God. Like relief in a sense. Not, not full relief, but just like, oh my God, we did it. Because it was very stressful. So it didn't feel, as excited as I was, it didn't feel that way in that particular moment. But if you go watch the end of the game when the horn goes off and we're finally like coming together as a team, I go crazy. I go like, I get hype in that huddle. I'm like screaming. That's like, I finally felt like I could show it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, 1-833 a touch 8.
As someone who knows and loves you, I could tell on the inside that when you turned around, you were like, oh my God, I just did something awesome and I can't celebrate it. But,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just felt like I was like, oh my God, thank God.
Yeah. No, it was really cute.
I've had a couple celebrations in my time, but I think as I got older, I celebrated less, and I wish I would have celebrated more is really what that is.
You heard it here first, kids.
Let us know.
Celebrate more.
But not like too much more.
Not too much. It can go overboard. It can get out of hand.
Just a touch more, a little bit. Just a touch more.
Yeah.
We're going to leave you with a touch more today, just a couple things. Congrats to the Minnesota Frost on defending their PWHL title and going back-to-back. It's so hard to go.
Back-to-back, so hard.
It's so hard to go back-to-back, so congrats to the Frost on another title. We love that.
And for me, what I'm going to leave y'all with is back to the New York Liberty, and something we were just talking about, something you talked about, Megan, was how they've really done a great job of connecting the community. They put out the Liberty Bar Network, which is basically a bunch of different bars in the New York City area where you can watch every Liberty game throughout this season. You can enjoy drinks at discount. There's promotions, New York Liberty merch raffles. I just thought that was really smart. It brings people together, like-minded people. It's kind of like a version of Tinder. No, maybe?
Yeah, Sports Tinder.
Sports Tinder? Sports bar Tinder?
Sports Bartender.
You're like, where's everybody at? Where's everybody at?
Genius. Genius Liberty Sports Bartender.
Something in there. I don't know if that makes sense. But if you check it out and you're in New York City, you can always find people to watch games with.
Oh, it's so great.
So
it's
smart.
Sort of connecting the community. I love it. Love it. That's it for this episode, everybody. We will see you next week. Support for A Touch More comes from Ring. If you're an avid listener of the pod, you don't need us to tell you how important good defense is. With Ring doorbells and cameras, you can get security and peace of mind at home or on the go. And A Touch More fans will be glad to hear that Ring is a strong supporter of women's sports. They're expanding partnerships across leagues, including the WNBA and the National Women's Soccer League. With Ring, you can get security and peace of mind from anywhere. Learn more at ring.com. Support for A Touch More comes from Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus is your streaming home for the best soccer in the world. Watch U.S. Women's National Team stars like Lynn Biondolo, Sam Coffey, and the Thompson sisters dazzle for their club teams. Catch live matches, highlights, and full match replays all season long. Don't miss out on the most exciting moments as they unfold. From kickoff to the final whistle, including the 2025 NWSL Championship streaming on Paramount Plus. Get started today by visiting ParamountPlus.com/livesports.